What do you think, Pema? You are unmuted.
Yes, Venerable, what were you saying?
I just said, what do you think? Oh, no, yeah, I have 2 times. One is still before 4. Yeah, let's wait another minute.
Sure, yeah. Meanwhile, I forgot one thing to mention yesterday. Could I quickly mention that?
Sure.
Hello, everyone. I think some of you might be joined today, so welcome back to Shita again. Thank you so much for joining us. I forgot yesterday to mention that, we are here, both Venerable Jamyang and I are here in the foothills of Himalayas, and also we are in monsoon, at the peak of monsoon. So our internet and powers are not so reliable. So in case if we got, disconnected, then we request you to stick around for like 10 minutes. We try to connect in with Venerable Jamyang yesterday, like she did connect with her phone hotspot. So we try our best to connect in. If we don't come back in 10 minutes, then you can, disperse. So don't wait for us. Yeah, I just want to mention that. Thank you.
And then is there a rescue plan for whatever is missed? So yesterday we made a start with the course, and after I gave an overview of all the topics that I would like to go through during this course, I spoke a little bit about the nature of the mind, how the nature of the mind is hidden for us, why we can't see it, that it is covered up by a net of conceptions, which is hanging over that nature of the mind as a heavy blanket. And at the same time, that nature of the mind is always there, like they say, like a diamond covered in mud. And so although the nature of the mind is covered, it doesn't mean it's going to be touched by anything that it is covered with. So it will be always there, pure, untouched, to be discovered by us. So whenever it is our karma ripens that we're going to discover it, the nature of the mind will be there, pristine, never touched before. And it will never be touched. We just cannot touch that nature. So I also spoke about the 3 levels of the mind: the coarse mind, the subtle mind, and the extremely subtle mind, and how they correspond with 3 levels of the body. We have the coarse body with the 5 sense organs and the mental consciousness, our coarse thinking. And then we have the subtle mind, which is the mind that is connected to the chakras and the, sorry, I'm talking about the body. The subtle body, which is the channels and the chakras and the drops. And then we have the extremely subtle body, which is the very subtle wind that is indistinguishably connected to the extremely subtle mind. They are one entity, they are always together. And they travel from life to life. So I just want to give you 1 minute to see if there are any questions about what we discussed yesterday. If there is something that you feel like, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about, I wouldn't like you to drop out from the beginning, So if somebody has an urgent question or feels like this really needs to be clarified before we continue, I would be happy to take that question. Let me have a look at all of you. No hands? Good. I'm glad. No, whatever, if there are questions, there are questions, but I'm glad that it was clear for you to continue with this. So if we want to discover the true nature of our mind, we need to create an environment in which that is possible. The true nature of the mind is covered by all our preconceptions. It is covered by our self-grasping mind and all the delusions that arise from that. it is covered by all the beliefs that we have, the beliefs about ourselves, the beliefs about the world, the beliefs about life, how things exist, how things work. And in general, we can say, due to our state, we have to say many of these conceptions are not in accord with reality. They are not in line with the true nature of our mind. True. That's a little bit our sad condition that we are in, right? We are a bit lost. We are caught up in all these ideas and all these beliefs and all these ways of thinking and feeling and acting and reacting. And all that is disconnected from our true nature, not in line with our true nature. And so this is what we are trying to find. And in order to find that connection or that even that alignment with our true nature, we need to create an environment in which that is possible, in which an environment that is suitable for us to have the opportunity to make some connection with that true nature of the mind. So how do we do that? I'm talking about external environment, and I'm talking about internal environment, and maybe even more about the last one. What kind of environment do we have in our mind? How is it to come home to ourselves? If we close our eyes and we feel what is going on inside us, is that a nice place to be? Or is there a lot of struggle going on? So that's what we're going to look at. And then we look at that, how that is connected to the motivation, why we engage in practice, and how we exactly relate to ourselves. And then we can think about what qualities do we need so that we can feel loved, that we can feel accepted, that we can feel relaxed, so that that true nature of the mind, that our own true nature that we somehow can connect with that in a better way. So that's a little bit the plan for today. But before we start with a very small meditation to settle the mind and to focus the mind and to set a good motivation, and then to take refuge. So make yourself comfortable. Whatever position works for you. The main thing with meditation is that we have a straight back, so that the energy can move freely up and down along our spine. Straight, and at the same time, the muscles need to be relaxed. When the muscles are very tight, energy cannot move. So for some people, it's helpful to pull up your shoulders and then drop them down, and repeat that a couple of times. Other people, they just need to breathe in deeply and then breathe out forcefully a couple of times to get to that place where they feel relaxed. So whatever works for you. And let the mind naturally calm down. The meditation posture itself is an antidote to all our delusions. So even if we do nothing and just sit in this posture, the delusions will subside. Focus on your body. Focus on your breath. And when your mind wanders off and you notice that, gently bring your mind back to your body and your breath. So this is a time that you have set aside for yourself, some quality time. So whatever belongs to the past, whatever has happened in the past, just leave that in the past. That's not important at this moment. It's not the time to find any solutions for whatever problem might still be there. And also don't let your mind wander to the future, to things that are coming up for you, that maybe make you anxious or worried. That worry is not going to help you at this moment. It's not going to contribute in a positive way to what we are doing. It's just going to take you away from that. Don't let it do that. This is your time. You have blocked that off in your calendar. And energetically, you can also take that block of time, making sure that nothing is going to disturb them. And then set up a good motivation for being here, for doing this course, for being in this session. So we are doing this course in order to learn what our true nature is and how to connect with that true nature. Whatever benefits comes from this, may it help me on the way of developing my full potential of wisdom and compassion, so that I can be of greatest benefit to all sentient beings. I feel gratitude that you have this opportunity. And then when we think about taking refuge, the meaning of refuge is that everything that we do is in order to develop our potential of wisdom and compassion. The potential for this is seated in our heart. It is our most subtle mind. Try to connect with that. And the heart, I mean, not in the left side in your organ, the heart, but it is in the middle of your chest. That is the seed of the most subtle mind, our potential for developing wisdom and compassion to its fullest extent. And so when we take refuge in the Buddha, we take refuge in the Buddha that we are going to become, the future fulfillment of our potential. That refuge is in our heart. And because it is sometimes difficult to connect with that, we also take refuge in all the representations of Buddha that inspire us to fulfill that potential. Whether these are our teachers that we see as Buddhas, or statues, or images, or our own visualizations. All these are means to help us connect with our own potential to become that. And when we take refuge in the Dharma, we take refuge in all the realizations of our mind, starting with all the correct understandings of the teachings, and every action that we do in accordance with the Dharma, now and in the future. And our guide in this is all the scriptures and the teachings that help us to develop our mind. So they are also our object of refuge in the Dharma. And then we take refuge in the Sangha, which is all those who support us on the path, especially those that have the realizations in their minds and can therefore be a wonderful role model, like our teachers. They have developed their compassion to a great extent. They have developed their wisdom. They know the nature of reality. So being in their presence automatically, when it resonates with us, it resonates with the true nature of our mind, with our potential to develop these same realizations. And our Sangha is also all those who support us. And some people, they have no time and no energy, but they support us financially. Other people give us the space to do or practice. Other people, they cook for us so that we don't have to spend time doing that, etc. Think about your own Sangha. That is your refuge. And we can relax and we can start or continue. So come back to your body. Open your eyes. And of course, if you feel you want to listen to the teachings with closed eyes, that is fine too. So we all know that at a certain point in our life, we came in contact with Buddha's teachings, right? Maybe we heard them on the radio, or we went to Dharamsala, came to Tushita, and we heard Buddha's teachings and we felt very inspired by them. And then at a certain point, you know, some people, they go home and they do nothing with it. They think about it regularly, it comes to their mind, but they don't engage in any type of study or practice. And other people, they go home and they want to study. Other people, they want to practice. We all have a different motives, what sets us out following the path and how we follow that path. And so when we start following the path and we hear these teachings about, you know, the path to enlightenment, and we go through all these stages and we can develop our mind like this and this and this, and then we can find freedom from samsara, total liberation from suffering. It's all fantastic. And we realize maybe when we hear these teachings, oh my gosh, I'm so caught up in my own delusions. I'm so caught up in my own beliefs. My mind is so busy. I have no control over my mind. It's almost painful to be with myself if I see what is all going on inside me. So when we decide to start practicing the path, the self that is engaging in the path is that self that is so caught up in all the delusions, that is so bound by preconceptions, by deep-seated beliefs, right? That self says, and that self doesn't really know the nature of reality. That self perceives the nature of reality totally opposite as that it is in actuality. So that self says, I'm going to do this. So with that mind that is so distorted, we start listening to the teachings. And so then we can find, we have to slowly move through that, right? Clean it up, slowly. But we can find some obstacles in how we do that. For instance, if we are used to be quite harsh on ourselves and we start doing the Dharma, and our Lama has said, Lama Zopa is really good in that. He said, oh, it would be really good. He gives you a life practice to do 300,000 prostrations and to make 500,000 satsas and to do 500,000 mandala offerings and to do, 1 million Vajrasattva mantras. You think, oh my gosh, I have to do all that, and there are people who start practicing and they engage with fanaticism and a perfectionism, like I want to do all that for my Lama because then I'm going to be a good practitioner. And so they start and they push themselves and they don't want to notice what is going on in their body and in their mind, and they just feel like I need to do this in order to be able to move to the next stage. So then some of them, they end up in a burnout. Sometimes the burnout is so bad that you hardly can go back to meditation practice. If we hear that, then maybe you say, maybe something is wrong with that attitude with which you practice. I know from a woman, she had to do, I think, 700,000 prostrations. And so she went home and she did them. And it would take, it takes maybe 8 till 10, 12 weeks to do 100,000. So it takes a long time. But she did it all. And she went back to Lama Zopa and she says, I did it. I did them all. And he said, okay, do another 400,000. And she was like, oh no. So I think he was maybe challenging her in the way she was doing things, that it is almost unbearable if we practice in that way, right? We have to pace ourselves. If we want to become enlightenment is very, very far away. It is very far away. At the same time, we hear the teachings, and the teachings say, there are practitioners who can achieve enlightenment in one lifetime. And I was one of them who thought, that's going to be me, So I become a nun and I'm going to do practice. But at a certain point, you cannot, when you're young, you maybe can physically push yourself a bit, but you're always going to get a backlash of that. Right? So they say, although we can achieve enlightenment in one lifetime, if we have the merit, if we have the right conditions for that, at the same time, we pace ourselves as if it's going to take a long time. Right? We need to relax. So the reason why most of us are engaging in the path, I don't know, I'm actually curious to hear about you, why you started engaging in Buddhism. Why did you sign up for this course? What is your motivation? And I want you to just reflect on that for a minute or so. What is your motivation? And when you can find your motivation, then question yourself and say, what is the belief about myself behind this motivation? And it can be useful to write it down. I might come back to that. So then I like to check who of you, I'm just gonna organize myself here a little bit different. Who of you said, I'm coming here because I want to improve myself, or because I don't like something in myself that I would like to change, or I would like to discover something really precious in myself because the way I feel now, I'm not really happy with myself. I don't like certain aspects with myself, for myself, or maybe I have the feeling I'm doing this because I have the feeling something is wrong with me and I feel I need to fix that. So I don't know if you have the courage to put up your hand if you are in that category. I should do a poll, but I don't know how to. I mean, I can't do that at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4 people. All the rest not. Okay, thank you. 5. Thank you. If somebody would have asked me that question when I started doing practice, I would have been too scared to even answer. So what kind of relationship do we have with ourselves? How do we approach ourselves? How do we speak to ourselves? How do we believe, we have this idea about who we are. What kind of person do you believe that you are? Which part of you do you like and which part of you do you not like? And what do you do? How do you relate to the parts that you like? And how do you relate to the parts that you don't like? Have you ever thought about that? When I met the Dharma, I was a full people pleaser. So I just wanted people to be happy. And whatever I could do, I will help you to become happy. I'll do whatever is needed to make you happy. So meeting the Mahayana Dharma, in which we work for the benefit of sentient beings, was for me like coming home, like, oh, fantastic. Here is this group of people. They all work for the benefit of others. They all want everyone to be happy. Wow, that is exactly what I want. I feel so connected to these people, right? But then when I started practicing, slowly, I started to connect with deeper aspects of myself that before I would not like to see them. I would have trouble looking at them, feelings of something is wrong with me. I need to fix something. And I also started to connect with the way I spoke to myself, how I was treating with myself. And I'm not sure why it took so long, but maybe that relationship with ourselves is so close that we don't even see it, right? We're looking outside, we're seeing other people, we can say a lot about them, we can say a lot about what is going on for them, what is motivating them, but if we have to look inside, it can be so close that we can't see it. And maybe there are aspects that we have buried so deep that we can't straight away touch it, that we have to do first creating some conditions, that is very fearful aspects of the very dark aspects have the courage to surface and to show themselves. Do you recognize that? I want to make sure I'm talking to you. If you who is not recognizing any of this and says, no, I have nothing like that. Oh, thanks God. We're all the same, no? So having that places in yourself with which you have a difficult relationship. For me, connecting with that and changing that relationship made such a huge shift, you know, that I think if we're going to look into the nature of the mind, it is very important that we do that with an attitude towards ourselves that is suitable to open up for that nature of the mind, right? If I beat myself up, oh, you didn't do it right, and you should meditate better, and you should concentrate longer, and you were constantly thinking about what is going to happen tomorrow, and you didn't stick with the job. If I have this kind of comments, you know, how can my mind relax and open up so that I can see my true nature? My mind is not going to do that. My mind is just going to hide even further. Right? So how do we relate to ourselves so that it is suitable, so that it is conducive to connect with our true nature? And in order to see how we relate to ourselves, we have to see our motivation, you know, the motivation to work for the benefit of others. My motivation, definitely part of that is pure. That's really what I want. But I can also see that it is mixed with a lot of other messages. Right? Why do I want to benefit? You know, maybe if I'm not benefiting others, I'm not of value, or maybe, you know, I have the feeling that my existence is worthless, or whatever reason. So Lama Yeshe calls this a negative mind, you know, thinking I'm a bad person, or my mind is bad, or I'm too negative, or I'm hopeless. Nothing, you know, for me, nothing is going to work. It is too difficult for me. So this criticizing that we are doing with ourselves create already a dualism in ourselves. Well, when we're going to look for the true nature, we want to find that unity in ourselves. So he says, I think that's the only mistake we make, you know. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm wrong, I'm not good enough, and we put ourselves down and we criticize ourselves. But I think the only thing where we can really criticize us for is that we are doing that. Right? That has no ground in reality, no roots in reality, making any judgments like that. So when we have this kind of negative motivation, even if it is mixed with a positive motivation, it creates a lot of confusion, it creates dissatisfaction, it creates pain, misery. So when we engage in Buddhist practice and we have this mixed motivation, we are not just going to create the causes for happiness for ourselves. We are not going to create just the causes to be free from suffering for ourselves. We are actually creating causes for more misery for ourselves because of our own motivation, our own attitude. Can you see that? Maybe you have the experience of that, you know, that you try to practice and that you think, why is nothing happening? Or why do I get more pain? Or why do I have more confusion? You know, I thought I got it, and now it's gone. You recognize that? Does that sometimes happen? So purifying that motivation, getting it really that we are working for the benefit of others without any other agenda takes time. I think the self, with time, countless eons, that self has been the center of our universe. And with all the experiences that we had, positive experiences, but also negative experiences that we couldn't digest, that are still somewhere in our system, the self spirals around in samsara, right? We go around and around and around, but I think it is sometimes like a spiral that gets more tight and more tight and more tight. And the beliefs get stronger and the delusions get stronger. And so if we want to purify that motivation, we have to go the other way around. And that goes slowly, slowly, slowly. We cannot purify the motivation in one session or even in 1 year, every time we peel it off, but it is good to spend time with that. So how do we do that? How do we practice, I would call it self-love and self-compassion for ourselves? So these are in the Mahayana tradition, a little bit difficult words, right? Some lamas say, no, you should never think about the self. But if you have parts of yourself that you push away, that you don't like, that you beat up, that you don't treat well, I think it is very important to first get a healthier self. Right? How do we do that? How do we practice self-love? We all have the need to be loved, right? I think that's the biggest need in life. Bigger than the need for food. Bigger than the need for anything else that we can get on this planet. We have this need for love. I think they did experiments with monkeys where they, what did they do? They had these iron monkeys that fed the children, the little monkeys, and they were the real monkey mothers who fed the little monkeys. And the children who didn't get any love, the monkeys who didn't get any love, they died. Right? But if you give monkeys no food, that's not such a problem. You can live quite a long time without food, but without love, you're either gonna die or you're gonna be very unhappy. When Romania got freed, I don't know, I'm still having these images on my mind. There were all these images of children in orphanages, and they were so retarded and they were so handicapped because they had no attention. They got food, they had a bed, they had some space to play maybe, but there was no love there. They were totally retarded. So I think the need to be loved is our biggest need. And if we talk about the need to be loved, we want to be loved in every aspect of ourselves, in every cell of our body, in every part of our mind, in every moment of our life. True? Do you feel this craving? Do you know that you have this craving? Or do you think, oh no, I'm okay without love? Maybe you had a lot of love when you were young and you can sustain that yourself. But if you had a shortage of that, you might still feel the craving. I need it. I need contact. I need connection. I need someone to tell me that I'm okay. I need someone to hold me. Why do we have the need to be loved? B asks. I think but that is my thinking. I don't know if that is true, But I think what we really are longing for is a connection with our true nature. And so by feeling being loved, we connect with our true nature. And when we are born, it is not that we feel, it is not that we can find that connection on our own. We find that connection in relationship to others. So when we have a mother who totally loves us for who we are, who has no need to change us in any way, we can feel that love and we can feel that connection in ourselves. But when we don't meet that, and most of us haven't met that, you know, our mothers are not perfect. Samsara is not perfect. We are not perfect. So then we don't feel that, but we're having this longing, I want to connect. That's what I think. I think it's because that need to be loved is going to also bring us to that connection with our true nature. Right? It can be our guide in searching for that happiness. So I think being loved and being connected, they go together. When we feel disconnected, we can feel that we are not loved. Or we are not worth it to be connected with. Or we don't deserve to be connected with. Or there must be something wrong with me that that person doesn't connect with me. But if we have a good friend and that friend connects with us, we feel like, oh, wow, that's such a nice friend, because we feel loved by that friend. Can you see that? That a lack of connection, and the connection for us, that is a lack of love, that comes very quick. That are very close, tight with each other. But we are living in samsara, we are living in this imperfect world. So we will not experience love in every moment, you know. I think it is more a rule that we do not experience love in any moment. In this world, we have pleasant experiences and we have unpleasant experiences, right? Things come and go. It is not, there is no one in this world who only has pleasant experiences. There is no one in this world who only suffers. We have both. That's the characteristic of being human beings. So what do we do when we are in pain? What is our need when we are in pain? When we are in pain, is that a sign of connection or a sign of disconnection? Normally there is a separation, no, when we have pain. When we have pain, how do we react? We react with, I don't like it. We react with aversion. We react with, oh, I don't want to be there. Have you ever seen if somebody falls, what happens, how they react? You know, if little children, if they fall, they come running to you and then they only scream, ah, my knee is hurting, but I'm screaming up here. I do not want to feel what is going on in my knee. I have so much pain. I have so much pain. And so I wonder sometimes, what are we suffering from? Are we suffering from the hurt from falling down, or are we suffering from the pain of being disconnected from that hurt? So when I was still working with children, I would, and something like this would happen, I would put my hand on that knee and I would say, where is the pain? Is it here in your knee? And they would say, yeah, but I don't want to feel it. And I say, but how does it feel? Tell me exactly, where is it? How does it feel? And so what if you breathe that pain out through your knee into my hand? Just breathe it out. And so the moment they start doing that, they reconnect with that area where they feel the pain and where they're disconnected from. The moment they connect, the pain is gone. And they think, oh, you really took it away. No, I didn't. I just showed them how to reconnect. So when we are in pain, what do? You know, maybe we call our friend. or we sit down with somebody that we trust and we want to have a conversation. And if that person really listens to us, can feel with us, after the conversation, we feel like relieved, like something has changed, something has moved. True. It is the compassion of the person that you are with that helps you to feel, to go to the feeling that is so painful. And once somebody meets you there, somehow you can let go of it. True? Have you ever experienced that? So connecting with these painful places instead of pushing them away helps us to reconnect. And when we reconnect with ourselves, we feel that we start to relax, right? We are more relaxed. We are more open. We are more sensitive for other people. We have more space in our mind to hear more or to dig deeper. Time is running so fast. I had still a whole lot to talk about, but maybe we can also do that in the meditation. Having a good relationship with yourself, loving kindness for yourself means that you allow yourself to be whoever you are, to allow yourself to feel whatever pain you are feeling, allow yourself to be miserable without becoming totally miserable, right? Somehow we need to hold ourselves within that state of being miserable. We don't run away from it, we don't bury it, but we need to find the strength in ourselves that we can hold ourselves in these difficult moments. And then instead of closing down for parts of us that we don't like, that are too difficult, that are too painful, and then with that mind that is closed off for parts of us, we start to engage in a practice in order to discover ourselves. It is almost like, how can that work? If we want to discover our true nature, we need to find a way that, or a mindset that is totally open for each and every aspect of ourselves. That can be lovingly present with each and every aspect of ourselves. That can be compassionate when painful aspects arise. So if we engage in Dharma practice because we want to improve something, we already have created, by thinking I need to improve a separation in ourselves. And due to that, we will never be able to improve that what we want to improve, because we have separated from that. We have said, I don't like that. And that aversion creates a separation. So we first need to let go the aversions to ourselves and say, yeah, it doesn't feel pleasant, but it is as it is. I'm just going to take it as it is. So we need to create a safe place where we feel loved, where we feel nourished, where we feel the strength that we can be with whatever arises in our mind, with all the pleasant feelings, the unpleasant feelings, the aspects that we like, the aspects that we do not like. And then we need to have this loving, accepting attitude towards each and every aspect, speaking kindly to each and every aspect, finding ways to be skillful with each and every aspect. And the more we can connect with all the aspects in ourselves, the more we create the conditions that we can connect more and more with our true nature. Does that make sense? There are psychologists who talk about, you know, when you don't like somebody, that is because that person reflects an aspect in you that you don't like. If you like every aspect in yourself, liking in the sense that not like, oh, it is, but liking in the sense that you know every aspect, you can see the nature of every aspect, you fully accept it, and then you wish it to be totally happy. Love in that sense. If we can do that with every aspect in ourselves, you know, it's so much easier to love others. Because we know, oh yeah, I had that too. Oh yeah, I can see the aspects that he has. I struggled with that. You know, this person is suffering. Then we can feel for that person. So on the way to becoming a Buddha, you know, we need to learn to see that light, that Buddha nature in every part of us, the goodness, the potential for wisdom and compassion in each and every part of us. All these difficult experiences that we have had and that we are covering up or shutting down because it is too painful, they all hold so much energy that once we start connecting with it, it transforms into more wisdom and more compassion. There is nothing inherently ugly or not worthy or even painful. It doesn't exist, right? The nature of the mind is that it has no characteristics of its own. So when we can connect with things that are painful, most of the pain will be gone. When we can see what is going on, when we really see it, pain will be gone. What really takes us beyond suffering is that we see the nature of reality, that we see the truth, that we see things as they are. We don't like to see things as they are, right? We are like, oh, it's too painful. But once you see it, pain is gone. All right. Are there any questions? I saw one question. Let me have a read. When the person we love wants to separate from us as a lover, but wants to stay in touch with us just as friends, how do we manage the pain and the connection to keep him or her happy? Especially if we as friends have been spiritual practitioners, have grown together as individuals and felt a very deep connection. So when we are lovers, when we are in a love relationship, there is love and there is attachment, right? There is never just love. There is always both. And so when we love someone deeply in a relationship and that person wants to move away from us, we're going to feel this separation from something that we like a lot. That separation from something that we like causes us the pain. So sometimes, I don't know, you know, what comes to my mind, I don't have solutions for very difficult problems. But what comes to my mind is that sometimes it can be good to first fully separate from that person, so that you take the time to grieve and to come to terms with the fact that you cannot be with the person that you really would like to be with. And only after that, you can reconnect and see what is left from our relationship, and how can we continue? Can we continue, and how can we continue? But I think as long as that attachment is there, that is like a wound. And then every time when you meet your ex-partner, you will put salt in the wound, and it is just going to be painful. And that pain is never going to go. You keep doing it. And my experience in my own life is separation, total separation. And that is also painful, Sometimes we think, oh, but if I have a little bit of contact, I won't feel the pain so much. Right? But then we drag it out and we drag it out, and we never give the wound a chance to heal. So that's what I think. I hope that helps. How can we deal with criticism? When I'm harshly at work, I feel small and hurt. That affects my motivation and how I view myself. How can I think about it differently? When I'm harshly at work, do you mean when people talk to me harshly at work? Or are you harshly?
There was a question from Shruti. Venerable, should I unmute her?
I'm reading the questions in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sure,
Or
sure.
was that oh yeah.
No, the current question that you are reading.
Yes, okay.
I thought you want to, yeah, Shruti.
Yes, please. Maybe she can highlight what she...
Yeah. Shruti, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so my question was, when someone criticizes me at work, then I'm not angry, but I feel very small and sad. And then it affects the way I look at myself and how I view myself, and affects my work.
Yes.
So I was wondering if I could think about it differently.
Yes. So we're going to talk about how the mind works and how we project things onto others, right? And the same way that we project things onto others, others project things onto us. And how we keep samsara going. Sometimes I think, when I'm suffering a lot, that will determine how I think about whoever appears in front of me, and I will project that onto that person. And when that person is sensitive, they take that into their energy, and they take with that maybe part of the suffering, and so we just keep moving in samsara. Yeah. So if somebody criticizes you, that is the opinion of another person. That's not who you are. But somehow that affects us deeply because we take it on. Yeah. We take it as ours. Right? So it is a skill to learn to leave that with the other person. And one of the ways that can be helpful is that when somebody criticizes you, you can say, is that true what he's saying, he or she is saying? Is that true? Because it could be true. And if it is true, then maybe you need to do something about that. And so you investigate yourself. What is true about what that person was saying about me? And then maybe you find, well, there is nothing like that inside me, And when you find that, then you also have no reason to feel pain. It's coming from the other person, and you leave it with him. Okay.
But it's very easy to criticize your own work too, I feel.
Yeah, and I think because it's easy for you to criticize your own work, when others criticize you, it hurts you a lot.
Yeah.
Because you criticize yourself, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if you become a little bit more gentle and soft with yourself, the pain of others criticizing you also is not going to hurt you so deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll do one more question. I have quite a long meditation for today, and then I will keep the questions and I'll see if I can integrate it in tomorrow's teaching. When you say, see things as they are, the pain will be gone. But what about a pain in a breakup? What does it mean to see it as it is? And can it really be gone? You know, relationships are a great source of happiness for us. You know, it is where we feel connected. It is where we feel loved. It is where we learn so much about ourselves in relationship to others. So breakups are extremely painful. And sometimes we just need to sit a little bit with that pain. And sometimes we need to sit a long time with that pain. And so we can think about different ways of viewing reality. For instance, you know, one way of thinking is that, and that is actually not really what you want to hear when you are in pain, but everything that is born will die one day, right? We are born, we have in this body, and naturally we're going to die one day. A relationship comes into being, you know, and then after 1 or 2 or 3 months, you might have the feeling, I know this person my whole life. And I'm not just this life, I know this person many lifetimes. But that relationship is, again, impermanent by nature. And one day that relationship is going to finish. And if you're extremely lucky and you have a wonderful relationship, you might, the time of separation might be the time of death. But if we look into the world, many relationships, they finish long before that, right? Things are changing so rapidly at the moment in the world. It is very difficult to have a relationship that is going to last a lifetime, right? Because it is not easy for two people to change together in a way that their connection stays kind of satisfying for both of you. So seeing that impermanent nature of life, seeing that, you know, we meet with each other and then at a certain point, due to karma, due to causes and conditions, the mind just wants to go in a different direction. That is not because something is wrong with us. That is not because any other reason than that karma is finished. And so thinking about that deeply, you know, that can help you to let go. Because what hurts so much is that you hold on, you know, I do not want to let go. I do not want to let go. Because when I let go, then what? And maybe you have to look into that. When I let go of her or him, then what? What am I going to feel? What am I going to think about myself? You know, sometimes we might feel in this deep, lonely, empty hole where we have no idea how to pick ourselves up. Maybe you feel that if you're alone, you're never, ever, ever going to find anyone anymore in this lifetime that is going to love you as you are, that is going to love you in the same way as this person loved you. Which is probably true, but you can find someone who might be better in tune with you. You know, you can think about what kind of opportunities is this breakup giving me, you know, and now I'm going to live on my own and, oh, I don't like being on my own. But what can you learn from being on your own? How can you make being on your own a positive experience? What do you need for that? I think there is a lot to learn in relationships. There is a lot to learn from breakups. There is a lot to learn from being on your own, you know, and life presents you with a situation. So can you go with the flow and accept and let go and feel that pain. You know, you can cry for days. And at a certain point, it will calm down and there will still be pain. And then slowly, slowly, you can work through that pain. Pain is an unpleasant feeling that arises. The more we can go with the flow and the more we can allow that feeling to arise, the sooner it will pass. When we are in that situation, we think that it's never going to go away, that will always be there. This pain is so deep, it's so real, it's so intense that it's never going to go away. But if you contemplate the nature of pain, pain cannot stay. Nothing can stay in the mind, nothing. True? Anger cannot stay in the mind. Pleasant feelings cannot stay in the mind. Concentration cannot stay in the mind. Nothing can stay. Things appear and then they dissolve back into the mind. All right. I hope that helps a little bit. So I'm going to read your other questions and then see if I can integrate that in the teaching tomorrow, and maybe some of your questions will be answered when we go through the meditation. Is that all right? So tomorrow we're going to talk about what obstructs us from seeing our true nature. And we will talk about the ignorance, the 2 types of ignorance, and the 5 or 6 types of delusions. And I will go into how we grasp at an inherently existent self, you know, how we do that, and how that works with the mind. And then we maybe also understand that when other people say things to us, that we react to that, and how we can find a place in our mind that we don't take everything on that people shoot at us, you know, leave it with them. All right. So I thought today to do a meditation on how to develop self-love and self-compassion. There is now a whole, how to say, there is a group of psychologists who are very much into how to practice self-compassion. And these are really good tools that we can apply in order to create a better relationship for ourselves. But I think when we study Dharma, we want to make that a little bit bigger than just this life. We want to make sure that the way that we practice self-love and self-compassion is going to benefit us in a way that it's going to benefit not just this life, but also all future lives. So make yourself comfortable in your meditation posture. If possible, make sure that you have a straight back. Your shoulders are relaxed. You can have your hands in your lap or on your thighs. However you used to meditate. Whatever you know works for you. Find that posture. Allow the mind to calm down. while resting your mind on your body. While resting your mind on your breath by observing the rising and falling of your abdomen. Relax. And we're going to go to more subtle levels of mind. We need to relax. Rest. And so when we want to create this place where we feel safe and loved and nourished, how would a place look like for you? And you can visualize a big ball of energy or light around you, which represents that safe space in which you feel loved and nourished. And you can think about what kind of light in that ball of energy you need in order to soothe your mind. What kind of sounds help you to relax the mind? What kind of smell and taste? And what kind of bodily sensations comfort you? Sometimes you might not want to have too much sensory input, so that's fine too. Maybe you just have a warm, loving feeling coming from that ball of energy. Touching you in each and every cell of your body. Appreciating each and every moment and aspect of your mind. And then bring your awareness to your mind. How do you feel? Allow your feelings to arise. Allow your thoughts to arise. We do not try to stop them. There's nothing wrong with thoughts and feelings. What does cause us suffering is our reaction to thoughts and feelings. So what we try to do is we step back and we just observe whatever arises in the mind without engaging. Thoughts and feelings arise from causes and conditions. We might have created these causes and conditions a long time ago. When we allow them to arise, they come to their height and then dissolve back into the mind. Just come and go like big waves. We don't try to stop the waves. We don't try to hold on to the waves. We just observe the waves. Then call to mind aspects of yourself or your personality, your character that you like. And observe your reaction to them. How do you present these aspects in relation to others? Do you show them? Do you exaggerate them? How do you do that? Without judgment, just think about it. And think of the aspects of yourself or your character that you don't like. How do you react to them? Observe that reaction. And how do you present these aspects in relation to others? Do you hide them or push them away? Do you pretend they are not there? Or do you feel safe enough to also show them? How equanimous are you towards these two sides of yourself? Do you have a preference to be the part that you like? And do you prefer not to be the part that you don't like? So then think that those both parts of your mind, they want to be happy. And they are equal in this. And if it is helpful, you can visualize that the part that you like is on your right hand and the part that you don't like is on your left hand. And you look at both of them equally. And you might feel the attraction to your right hand and aversion to your left hand. Try to balance that by thinking that whatever is in your hands, both sides are equal and wanting to be happy. And both sides are equal and wanting to be free of suffering. The way they manifest is an expression of these wishes. Both aspects of your mind are connected with your true nature. Their foundation, their source, where they're coming from, is your true nature. Both are equal in that. Both have the potential for wisdom and compassion. Parts that we feel good with are often parts that are more connected, more thriving, more in line, more going with the flow. The parts that we don't like, they are painful, in conflict, confused. Maybe we experience failure. We feel that we have no skill there. We both have the same potential. And how much of that potential we can actualize depends upon how we can connect with these parts. The more fully we connect, the better the energies will move, will flow. And the more they come in line with our true nature. So when we go through a painful experience, and we have the tendency to react with aversion, not wanting to see it, not wanting to feel it. If we want to have a more healthy attitude towards these kind of experiences, then the first step is to be mindful of that feeling. And to be mindful of any reaction to that feeling, any thoughts that come with that feeling. Just observe them and accept them fully. And then we talk kindly to ourselves, acknowledging that we are suffering. We talk to ourselves in the same way as that we would talk to our best friend who is going through a similar experience. You soothe yourself. You understand your pain. You connect with your pain. You give it space to digest. Be gentle with yourself when you experience suffering. You are in pain. And then we can also practice gratitude. Being happy with what we are, with what we have. Although we are in pain, we at the same time have this good fortune to having found tools to be with that. When we go through a painful experience, often we feel isolated. We feel alone. When the painful experience arises in the mind, we react with aversion. And aversion helps us to disconnect. We want to disconnect from the pain. But with that, we also disconnect from part of ourselves. And with that, we disconnect from others as well. So when you are mindful about the painful feelings and you talk kindly to yourself, reach out to yourself, reconnect with yourself, even if it's painful. And then reach out to others, knowing that they're going through similar struggles as you do. And then we bring the meditation to a conclusion. At first, coming back to the space. Feel your body. Start moving your hands and your feet a little bit. Feel that you're totally present in your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And then we can dedicate all the positive energy that we have created by doing this meditation. We can imagine that all that positive energy gathers in our heart, filling our whole body. And from there overflowing through the crown of our head like a fountain, radiating it into space, touching each and every sentient being. Bringing them all the happiness they're longing for. Removing all their suffering. And I want to thank you very much for being here. I hope to see you all tomorrow at the same time, 4 o'clock.
Thank you, Venerable. Thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.